Now, the PM, I think, is speaking out of both sides of his mouth here. He's overseas talking about how we're going to be this renewable energy superpower, yada, yada. But it's looking increasingly like the Prime Minister won't announce new climate targets until after the federal election.
Thank God for that.
Leader Peter Dutton has criticised Albanese for a lack of transparency. Take a look.
If the government's committing to a higher number, they should announce it before the election. In the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer has been upfront with the British people and said that it's moving to 81%. Where is the Prime Minister in his openness, honesty and transparency?
Now, as Joe said there, I suspect because he wants his mate to be re-elected, thank God Albo hasn't come out with anything yet, Caroline.
So Peter Dutton wants Anthony Albanese to be more aggressive on climate change.
No, he just wants him to be upfront.
Exactly. I think obviously it's politically smart. If you think you're going to be increasing the target, you're not going to be telling people that before the election when people are already worried about their household bills and how they're going to be able to afford them next month. Because let's be honest, it's certainly the trend hasn't been in the favour of bringing down bills when it's come to this investment in renewable energy so far, despite that promise that we keep banging on about that they would come down by $275. They haven't.
But don't we deserve to know, Joe?
Well, I mean, the real trend is in countries setting targets and then not meeting them. I mean, the targets...
The Paris Agreement's a perfect
The target is just a MacGuffin, that's right. It's, it just keeps people talking, keeps people building $175,000 pavilions, which is more than the average house price in Dandenong, by the way. Little fun fact for you. I happen to know that very well. But
they should have it in Dandenong.
And so they can have it in my mum's place in Dandenong. It might actually increase the value. Unfortunately, there is no running water or sewerage, but we can get around that.
Hey, that's a taster of what things will be like.
But I think what Albanese is very clearly signalling here, far from sort of hiding or burying anything, he's saying, look, this is not a priority for us. Our priority is cost of living, our priority is economic pressures, and we are not thinking about climate targets while we know people are under a huge amount of pressure. And if he was to go to the election banging on about a new climate target, be it stronger or further away or whatever it was, people would just think this is just the voice.
Well, why doesn't he say that then? Why doesn't he say that? Because
I think his focus is on, again, doing this, future made in Australia stuff, getting industry in on it. Chris Bowen is rolling out even more projects than he thought he was going to be at the moment, and so just making sure this is all, not just about abstract targets, and this is not about sort of quixotic ideological sort of rabbit holes that we're going down, but this is something that people can see, that it's about jobs, that it's about economic growth, it's about industry, it's about increasing our export share. I think that is what it's going to be about. If I'm wrong, we're all screwed.
So Keir Starmer announced a goal today for 2035, not for 2030, right?
So 5 years beyond.
Exactly. So our goal is for 2030, which we, maybe we hit it, maybe we're not. I know there's different schools of thought, but whatever. But that's the current goal, 2030. Right, so I think it's fair enough in 5 years' time to then have another announcement to say 2035. I don't think it's that unreasonable to say, well, we've got our goal for 2030 and that's what we're focused on, that's what we're going to do.
Well, that's what's in legislation.
But aren't we talking imminently about the end of the world here, supposedly? I want to know what's happening in 2030, 2040, 2045.
Greta said 5 years ago that we were all supposed to be on fire right now, right? What's it going on? I think this is fascinating in the context of the Paris Agreement, right? And when you just kind of look historically over what's been going on there in that space, all of these countries committed to these specific targets, the majority of them have failed these targets.
That's right. That's why the targets don't matter. All that matters is what you are doing.
I agree. And look, to be fair
to
Albo, the fact is that, the target is 2030. That's already in legislation. I don't begrudge him.
And there's a net zero target for 2050. So that's where everyone is going to end up, regardless of where they are.
Committing to that 2030. But I also think maybe he's being more optimistically cautious, or just cautious in general, because of what happened with The Voice, right? Or and the whole issue surrounding, look, we don't know kind of what it's going to look like. We'll figure all of that out once it gets voted up. He's got to be smart here. And if he commits to something else and doesn't deliver on that, he's in an election cycle, right?
All he wants to talk about and all he should talk about is cost of living. Until rates come down and people...
But voters deserve to know when they go to the polls what the government will do once they're elected. And on such a huge issue like this, they need to know if the target is going to get even more extreme.
But I think what they will do will depend on what the economy is doing. That's the thing.
So they do care about that, but
people are also going to...
But that's going to affect the economy and it's going to affect their household bills. and it's going to affect their cost of living.
But do you know what I think might also decide the election as well? Because given that Dutton is so intent on going down this nuclear path and Albo is on his renewable energies path, I think that could potentially be the deciding factor.
I think it'll certainly blow up because it'll all come down to, as we've been talking about, the cost